Wintertime is upon us, and it is time to do the things you do to a supercar in the winter. You take them apart. Let's get started. This is my 94 Dodge Viper RT10. You guys have seen it in a few videos in the past. We enjoyed it all last summer, went to car shows, really enjoyed driving this car. I love this car. But now that it's winter time, it's really kind of cold out, and it's actually going to be snowing tomorrow. It's not really weather you take a Viper out in. There's a few things I want to address while we're getting through the winter season. I've already taken a lot of things apart. But before we dive into the Viper, we have some updates on some equipment in the shop. Those of you who also watch Hoovy's Garage have seen what he calls Angry R2D2. This is my air conditioning machine that I've had for about 4 years. It actually looks kind of like an angry robot or something. That's why he called it that. And it has just died. I'm actually very disappointed. This is a Matco Tools. I don't know what model it is. But I've had it for about 4 years. We were using it, and it made some loud buzzing noises, and then it started smoking, and I just unhooked it. We haven't used it since. Luckily, it's wintertime. We don't need it that much. I pondered the idea of calling a repair tech out from Matco or whoever to service this thing and repair it. It's out of warranty. It probably cost me $1,000 or more. Who knows how much it would cost. And I got to thinking, of all the different pieces of equipment I have in the shop, I have BendPak lifts, I have a Ranger Products, which is also part of BendPak. I have Ranger Products brake lathe, I have a parts washer machine, I have tons of really good equipment. I've had zero trouble out of all of them. It's like, why don't I just contact them and see, do they sell an air conditioning machine? And they do. And it is so much better than this thing I've been missing out all along. Let me get this out of the way and I'll show you the new one. So obviously this is an Angry R2D2. This one doesn't look angry either, like the old one did. This one is HAL 134, kind of like HAL 9000 from 2001 Space Odyssey. So that is the name of this machine. I can already tell it's going to be so much better than the old one, because the old one had mechanical valves that you manually had to turn, and you had to do this and follow the prompts. This one has none of that. It's completely automated. There's nothing I have to do but just push buttons. It's really, really nice. So let's get the hood open on the Viper. I'm going to go ahead and hook this thing up and let it pull refrigerant out. And while it's doing its job, we're going to jump in to show you some of the other things that are going on. So I've got the machine plugged in, turned on. I got my hood prop up and everything. Really nice, high-tech hood prop that came from Mrs. Wizard.
That's my broom handle.
Well, right now it's holding up the hood.
I guess you can sweep the floor when you're done with it.
Possibly.
Good.
We're going to go ahead and hook up these hoses to the service valves here. I'll remove the caps. And I could hear right away when I remove this cap a little burst of air, like pshh. That tells me that those valves are probably leaking. I noticed towards the end of the summer we're getting some AC that was a little weak. So I'm going to evacuate and see where we're at. And I'll replace those valves later, but go ahead and get this thing hooked up. So I got that hooked up. I'll go ahead and press the button. It actually says recovery. This can do recover, recycle, recharge. This triple R machine is what they call it. It can pull refrigerant out and weigh it versus what it should be in the car, which is actually in the car. It can recycle the refrigerant and use it again on other cars, and it also can recharge. Let's go ahead and do recovery.
Oh, you're hugging your new friend.
Thanks, Hal. What's that?
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
You're sorry you can't do that, Dave? Oh, I can tell you right now, we're going to do that today. Don't give me no sass.
He's got some attitude in there.
It does. Sorry, I can't do that, Dave. Come on. Recovery. I push the button. We're going to go ahead and hit. It says press OK to start. I guess that's the thumb up. Recovery running. And you hear all the things clicking. It's doing all of those manual valve things I had to do on the old Matco one. It's doing it by itself. I don't even have to do it. And if you're interested in this AC machine or really any of the Ranger products or BendPak products, we have tons in the shop that we use every single day. There's a link in the description to check out those items for sale. And we'll show you the light that they included. They sent along when I ordered this as well, as soon as we move over to the Viper. I'll let you do your thing, Hal. Don't give me any more sass. So when I got this car, I pulled the valve covers off and did a valve cover gasket job. I repainted them because the paint was literally flaking off. And the valve covers turned out very well, but the color didn't exactly match the intake. So I knew in the back of my mind, this winter, when I'm not driving it anymore, I'm going to pull the intake off because I think it has intake leaks anyways. And this is how it turned out.
Wow, that's quite the six-pack you have, sir.
It's a 10-pack.
Oh, even better.
Yep. So it turned out very nice. Grimes actually removed this for me, and he said when he went to remove the intake bolts, some of them didn't even require a ratchet. He just took them off by hand. I think I had a vacuum leak at idle. It would run a little rough. I believe this is going to solve it. But I also found something else. There's 10 of these injectors that fit into these holes. Just like that. These are called side feed injectors. One thing I noticed is there's little screens on this little plate here, and some of the screens are disintegrated, and I'll show you. You can see right there there's like a brown screen, but as I turn it, you can see where the hole, the intake hole is, there's no screen. It's disintegrated, it's just open. So that means pieces of screen have gone into the actual injectors, possibly clogging some of them. That could also be some of my issue with it running rough. I'm doing a Gen 2 upgrade. I'm putting Gen 2 rebuilt or remanufactured injectors on here. These will just keep around for spares or something. I won't be putting those back on. I got this painted nice and ready to go, and while it's all apart, there's some things you do while you're there on a Viper. Let's go take a look. Thanks again also to BendPak for sending these handy dandy under hood lights. They also have magnets. You can see that these turn out just like the other side will do as well, called a light sticks. But these are rechargeable and they're very, very cool. So I'll go ahead and turn this a little bit so I can get some more light under here. The thing that's really crazy, there's a lot of parts on these cars, on the Vipers, especially the Gen 1, that are just off-the-shelf Chrysler parts I'm going to show you. But there's a big shroud that goes right here. It's about this wide. It's for the wipers. That you have to take off to get the intake off and a lot of other things. And while you're there, you might as well do a tune-up. And the place that they put the ignition coils on here is insane. Let's take a look. So you can see bolted to the back of each cylinder head is the ignition coil pack. There's a 4-cylinder one here. And on the other side, there is a 6-cylinder one. I'm going to go ahead and remove one of those on camera, show you guys a little bit of wrenching, and then we're going to talk about where they came from. It's very interesting. So I'll go ahead and remove the driver's side, which is the 6-cylinder set of coils, or coil pack I should say. I'll go ahead and pull that one off and show you guys. So it is kind of tough to see where I'm working back here. There is coolant pipes in the way on the Gen 1 Vipers, and I'm not going to remove those because I don't want to drain all the coolant out. I can get back here and pull these out without removing the hoses, so I'm not going to do that. Thermostat's just fine on this, so I'm not going to mess with it. So I got 1 or 2 more bolts and I'll show you the coil pack.
Wow, dear, you were worried about your air conditioning machine being a problem today. I think your Viper was definitely, trying to pull a howl on you.
Yeah, it was definitely trying to fight me. So the coil packs that are used on these are the same that you would find. Like this is the old one. You can see it's all crusty. Hal's beeping at us. This is a brand new one. This is off of a Dodge Intrepid. Does it look familiar? I've replaced many of these on Intrepids. Here's the old one here. All I did is order one for a Dodge Intrepid, and it'll bolt right in and be happy. The other side is the same situation, the same sequence to get it out, but it has a 4-cylinder version of this. It only has 4 terminals, and it's a Dodge Neon ignition coil pack. It's really interesting that you can save so much money on these. Like the steering column that's on this car, it's actually the same one used in the Acclaim, Aries, LeBaron, any of those K cars. Let's go take a quick look. If you look at that steering column, you'll see it looks just like a LeBaron or a Acclaim, Aries, 88, 89, 90, 91. Same exact thing. There's many other parts on this vehicle as well that are used on common Chrysler cars of the early 90s, and it's really important to find those things out on a car you have that's a specialty car like the Viper. They didn't make very many Vipers. So if you go and type in Dodge Viper ignition coil, it's very likely someone out there may have one for sale, but instead of charging you 40 or 50 bucks, thanks Hal, you're all done. But instead of charging you 40 or 50 bucks for the coil, they're going to sell it to you as the special Viper coil. It's $170. There's a lot of ways you can save money on these cars if you know some of those tricks. If my steering column was to ever go kaput, I would get one out of a junkyard from a Aries or an Acclaim or something, pull all the pieces apart, put my parts and pieces on there, put it back together. There's lots of electronics and things that are also used on Chrysler vehicles. Hal is all done, and it's showing that it pulled out just around 2 pounds, and it's supposed to have 2.12 pounds, so a little bit has leaked out. Not much. It's probably coming from those service port valves. I'll need to replace those. I have a lot of plans for this vehicle while we have it in the shop during the winter. I'm going to upgrade the rear brakes to a 40mm set of calipers. There's a modification that can be done. I'm hoping the guy that can do that for me will actually get it done for me. I'm not going to do major teardowns or anything like that. This is about as far as I'm going to go with the engine. Change a few things with the exhaust to make it a little bit quieter, upgrade the brakes, and should be back on the road. Thanks again to BendPak for sponsoring us with this really nice Cool Charge AC134A Recover, Recycle, Recharge machine. It's already proven itself to be very accurate, and I didn't even have to mess with valves or do anything. It was totally automated. It is so nice. It's going to save us a lot of time. Also thanks to BendPak for the light sticks, which is the underhood lamp. There's so much stuff that you guys can go check out with Ranger products or BendPak in the link in the description below. There's tons of things they offer. If you have a professional shop or a do-it-yourself shop, everything is listed. It's top quality. I've had zero trouble with anything that they have sent our way. So thanks again to BendPak for those items. So there's tons of links in the description. So make sure to go check those out. Make sure to hit the subscribe button here as well. We have many cool videos to come for you guys. What's this? Ugh.
That's the broom. I want my handle back.
Oh, that goes to this broom handle here?
Yes.
I'll definitely set it aside here, and when it's all done, I'll do some sweeping for you.
Thank you, dear.
Thanks for following along with us today on the Sweet Viper repairs. Thanks for watching.